Everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes of our previous meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Or discussion, corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
No opposed. The minutes are approved. Business Relations Manager Greg Pauley will now present a status update on the city's redevelopment area. Welcome, Mr. Pauley.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. It's really getting exciting as I drive through that redevelopment area almost daily now. And again, I'll make my normal disclaimer that the photos that you're going to see tonight are a week old, which means in most cases they're outdated. Things are moving very quickly down there. It's exciting to go through there and see the changes as they occur daily. To get started tonight, I would like to first just spend a moment reviewing a little bit about the redevelopment area. It was formed in September of 1999, and it consists of 225 acres centered at the crossroads of 56th Street and Bush Boulevard, indicated on the map to the right of the slide with a little green icon there, commonly referenced as the northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast quadrants. This slide zooms in a little bit, shows you a tighter perspective of the boundaries. The redevelopment area consists of both residential and commercial properties. It extends as far west as the city of Tampa, as far north as 98th Avenue, as far east as Ridgedale Road, and as far south as the Hillsborough River. Here's a snapshot of the current fiscal year budget. These are actual budget figures, and they are 100% collected. Combined total revenue from Hillsborough County and Tampa Port Authority at $231,914. You'll see a small footnote indicating a $238 variance from what was previously budgeted due to a very minor millage adjustment on part of the Tampa Port Authority. The next item there, the next line, is city revenue for the redevelopment area. That's $260,758 for a combined total of $492,672. And then that same figure is then expensed back to general. I'd like to start by talking about a finished project that has finished since I gave my last report. If you recall, in February, I reported that the O'Reilly's Auto Parts store was due to finish in March. And in fact, they did. They opened their doors the third week of March. This project was built by One Oak Development. It sits on 1 acre in the southwest quadrant at 5275 East Bush Boulevard. The CO was issued in January. The merchant took possession of the property in February and continued to stock it in March, and they did open in the third week of March. The developer spent a total of just over $2 million on purchasing the ground and also building out the structure. You'll see a footnote on this slide as well. When the property was replatted, it did receive a new address. The previous address reported in all of my previous reports was 5299 East Bush. The current address as replatted is 5275 East Bush Boulevard. Next up, these are the 6 projects that I continue to track. They're ongoing at this time. We have the Fountain Shops at Temple Terrace. We have Waverly Terrace Luxury Apartments. We have the Enigma Boutique Shops. We have Salem's Fresh Eats, quick service restaurant. We have the Overlook Multifamily Expansion Project, and we have the Silvio Palms Residential Project. To start this group, we'll talk here first about the Fountain Shops at Temple Terrace. Project sits on 2.5 acres in the southeast quadrant, right at the corner of Bullard Parkway and 56th Street. The developer for this project is Paragon Property Group. He broke ground back in October of 2020. When finished, the site will contain 5 freestanding buildings totaling a little greater than 21,000 square feet of commercial space. That space will be used for retail, dining, banking, and professional offices. The developer spent just under $3.6 million to purchase the ground and has budgeted an additional $3.4 million for improvements at the site. 4 buildings are well underway, near complete. The 5th building is currently in the planning stage and being redesigned. The original plan for that 5th building was full office space, I spoke to him just the other day, he's now redesigning it because he has some interest in retail on that side as well. So you're probably going to see a half-half scenario where half of it will be office, half of it will be retail. Here's a snapshot of the current status of Building A, which is Chase Bank. Here I'm standing kind of over towards the intersection looking to the south. That's the north side of Building A. And then to the right of the screen is kind of looking down the 56th Street side. The image on the left is the west side that's facing 56th Street of that same Building A. And then the image to the right is the very next building down along 56th Street, which we call Building B. Now I've moved over to the south side of the project. I'm down along B Street looking back towards the northwest. The image to the left is a rendering that was provided by the architecture firm way back in the day. And the image to the right is the current status. And you can see that they've really stuck to that original detail. This is basically the same position looking a little more to the north. You can see the buildings D, C, B, and way off in the distance on the other side of the concrete truck is Building A. And it shows you that they're all more or less tracking about the same as far as their development progress. Building A has tracked in front of the rest of the buildings since the beginning. The icons represent vendors that are the developer has contracts with. We have Starbucks going into the southern end of Building D. We have Rocking Crab Seafood House going into, it will occupy the entire Building C. We have AT&T going into one half of Building B. And we have Chase Bank, which will occupy the entire Building A. The developer is continuing in discussions with a national sandwich quick service restaurant to occupy the other half of the Starbucks building, and also a day spa service to occupy the other half of Building B next to AT&T.
Hey, what service?
It's a spa, it's a day spa. I'm sorry, day spa service. The next project that we're tracking here is the Waverly Terrace Apartments. This project's located on 4.85 acres in the southeast quadrant, south of Bullard Parkway, east of Bertha Palmer Boulevard. The developer for this project is the Richmond Group of Florida. This project involves 200 residential units built within two residential buildings, which flank a clubhouse and common area pool. This is an updated rendering provided more recently by the developer of what the project will look like when finished. This developer has invested $3 million into the land and has budgeted an additional $21 million into the construction and site improvements. And this is what it looks like today, or at least last week. This is North Building, the North Residential Building, and all the way to the right corner there, you'll see the arrow showing you the reference to the clubhouse. This building is, they have begun the interior finishing, interior walls, electrical. They're moving towards getting this one done and having it ready for a temporary certificate of occupancy in August. And like many projects, this building is tracking about 2 months before the other half of the same project. Here's the south building. Again, still pretty much sticks on the inside. There's not too much finish on the inside of this one as of yet. It's a couple months behind, and the developer plans to seek his TCO in October. I did reach out to the developer recently to inquire about their management team and their leasing agent for the property. They have not named their team for this yet. However, they did give me a couple of links that I could share with the community for persons interested in maybe inquiring about lease opportunities that would like to live on site. They have a beautiful website, and they have a very robust Waverly Terrace Apartments Instagram feed as well. So I encourage anyone who would like to learn actually about the leasing opportunity to visit one of those two links.
Mr.
That was-
Polly, do they have the rent amounts posted on their website?
They do not. They don't have them posted yet. What they have is they have an opportunity for you to sign up for their email group so that they can send you updates as they come available. And they also introduced something through their Instagram page to not only promote the project, but also to drive a little bit of traffic through their social media outlet. They are allowing interested parties to go in and pick out interior paint colors for people who want to live there. It's very interesting. They've done a very nice job with their social media.
May I?
Yes, ma'am.
So the building is secure, it's dried in. So if they've started the interior, because it does, the outside skin isn't there.
It's not, no, ma'am.
Right, so do you know what the holdup is, or?
Yeah, it's more of a material thing.
But they're dried in, so they can start the drywall and,
Oh, absolutely.
so-
And they already have.
well, when you said they were
Yeah.
finishing the interior and to the person driving by on a daily basis, it doesn't look dried in, so I didn't,
And the south building is not, the north building is.
correct, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried that might be the problem, yeah.
All the scaffolding is up on the north building, the facade. My understanding from Amir, our building official, that they've got that material, and they start siding.
Good, okay.
And the next project is the Enigma Plaza. This is on the south side of Chicago. This project sits on 2 acres in the southeast quadrant. It's an old building that's going to be redeveloped into 34,000 square feet of boutique retail space. The site plan for this project was approved recently in April, and the developer plans to commence with the redevelopment within the next 4 to 6 weeks. He did spend $1.5 million on the land and has budgeted an additional $1.3 investment for the building and site improvements.
Mr. Polly, I wouldn't normally get down in the weeds this far, but as you know, this project is kind of drug. Do we know why it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks from now to start? Because we approved it,
Yes, sir. The developer retained a contractor from, I believe, Orange County, was the Orlando area. He retained and I may have to defer to the manager for the details, but he retained a registered general contractor, which is different from a certified general contractor. Certified general contractor, as I understand, is licensed to operate within any county within the state. A registered general contractor must register in each county in which he chooses to operate. This particular contractor is not registered in Hillsborough County, so he, as we speak, is going through that process. And that's about a 4 to 6 week process.
Thank you.
The next project is the Salem's Fresh Eats Quick Service Restaurant, located on just a little over half an acre out parcel in front of 5400 East Bush Boulevard in the northwest quadrant. This project broke ground in January and has an estimated community investment of $600,000 to complete that redevelopment. And here you can see the current status, though. The vertical walls are up and they're ready to move on to roof and structure. The next project is the Overlook Multifamily Project. This is an additional multifamily built on the property located at 9237 Overlook Drive in the northwest quadrant. Construction on this project is near complete. I understand that there's just a few more finishing details on the interior that need to be completed before the before the CO is issued for this project. And that's what it currently looks like. And the last project that we're tracking in the group of 6 is the Sylvia Palms. This is a Habitat for Humanity residential project. It will be built on 2.4 acres located in the northwest quadrant near the intersection of Tipple Heights Road and Overlook Drive. It'll consist of 12 single-family homes and a park which will center the property with half the homes on the north side of the park, half the homes on the south side of the park. And they have begun clearing the land in preparation of construction. That's a current shot also. And for review, you folks have seen these images before. These are some of the renderings that were issued. I think I first showed them to you back in February for the single-story models as well as a two-story model. And remaining in the city's inventory of available parcels is the property at 8901 North 56th Street, 8447 North 56th Street, and 2005 South River Hills Drive, all located in the southeast quadrant of the redevelopment area. The 8901 North 56th Street is 1.69 acres, located immediately west of Waverly Terrace and immediately south of the Fountain Shops. Here's the street view looking back to the east of that property. The next parcel is the old restaurant parcel at 8447 North 56th Street. This is a 1.74 acre parcel, and it's located just south of the Enigma Plaza project. Now, for these two parcels along 56th Street, we have received some inquiry and some interest in these two parcels. I'll call it light interest at this time. We are not at a point where we are ready to bring you any proposals, but the buzz is starting to build a little bit on these two parcels. And the last parcel still remaining in the city's inventory is the Riverside parcels located at 205 South River Hills Drive. This parcel is the recent subject of discussion for consideration of other public land uses for recreational spaces. Just as a side note, we have not received any further inquiry on this property that would meet what the city is looking for. I do continue to receive calls almost daily on apartment builders, but obviously that's not something that we consider a best use for this parcel. And that's the street view of that River Hills parcel. And that wraps up the available parcels. Just a quick note, the next regularly scheduled CRA meeting is set for August 17th at 5 p.m. And with that, I'll be more than happy to take any other questions that you may have.
I've got a couple questions. Well, Mr. Sister, go ahead.
Go ahead, no, you go.
So the old Curry Bowl lot, the remaining one on parcel A there, just south of Enigma, I don't think anybody's really worried about that. I think that's going to sell as soon as that other stuff opens up. The one oddly shaped parcel that's the old Curry Bowl restaurant, you know, we look at that, and I know Patrick and I have talked about this a lot. We look at that as well as an odd-shaped parcel, which may be having some impact on the people that we're attracting. But it's oddly shaped, but it's not badly shaped. I mean, you could put a building out towards the street, which is what developers want to do now, is be close to the street and put your parking in the back. That's not really that bad. I'm just wondering, and I'm sure you've had this conversation, I'm just wondering if it's worth refreshing it. If there's any opportunity for us to do more targeted marketing with that particular parcel. I mean, we all know from our constituents that this city, we've got a lot of great assets here, a tremendous number of assets. But what we don't have is a lot of upscale dining. What we don't have is craft beer. Those are what the community is telling us we need. And I'm just wondering with that particular parcel, I just don't want to see somebody put another something that we've got 6 others of, right? We don't need more of that. We need, you know, what we're trying to do down there is change the flavor, change the complexion, bring people down there. And well, that's what we need. We need upscale dining. I don't think we need more strip, retail's great, but we've got a lot of that. I just, I've reached out to upscale restaurateurs in the area. I've reached out to the Craft Brewers Guild. I've reached out to, and I haven't had any success. And I don't know if there's any benefit to us expressing that that's what the community really wants on that property. Here's something different that maybe we need to talk about if Patrick thinks it's worth talking about. Is there something we can do, particularly on that piece of property, to make the deal more lucrative, to attract somebody? Maybe we demolish the building at our expense. Maybe we give them some tax incentives, deferred partial tax deferral, something a little innovative other than just to put a for sale sign and wait for the phone to ring. Is there something we can do to make what we want to happen on that property happen? And I don't know that we've ever had that discussion amongst ourselves about, what are the options here? And I don't know, because I know the laws have changed on providing, like the old targeted industry incentives and stuff, and some of that's changed. So I don't know what even we can do and what we can't do. But I, for one, I'm not willing to sign the thing over for free, but I, for one, am willing to have a conversation with somebody who's willing to build something that's truly an asset to the city if we need to put a little skin in the game ourselves to make it happen. And I don't know how the rest of you feel about that, or whether that's a conversation you want to pursue. I don't know if there's a conversation to be had. I don't know what we can and can't do. But, so I don't know. I guess I'm kind of open-ended here. I'm not trying to land the plane here. I don't know if that's something that we should talk about.
I agree completely, but I think what we need to say that once we find out what we could put on the list of negotiating points, is that we say, okay, these are the 2-3 things that we can do. And then when Mr. Berman starts talking to this person, he can say, well, here's an option. A craft brewery may want that old crummy looking building because that's what that's their look. Okay, Seminole Heights is full of old gas stations, and I think there's now a new funeral home that has a brew pub in it. Okay, so they might be not wanting you to tear down that building, but they might also not want to buy it, and they want to lease the land. Is a land lease even an option for us?
Well, I guess my questions to the council and then to the city manager and to our staff. First, do we want them to even explore this?
Yes.
Right? We do?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sisley, you all right with
Yeah, I guess so. I don't, well, I think.
exploratory?
Yeah,
I'm not
explore-
committing
Yeah,
anything.
very loose exploratory. I mean, realistically, many CRA issues or agencies sell the land for $1 and live off the TIF money. Okay, I mean, that's what they did at the Port Authority and stuff like this. So, I mean, we have, I would imagine, I'm not speaking for, saying we know, but, from full boat to anything to $1. I think we have a whole range of things. I'm not advocating doing that, but I think it's available to us. But yeah, I agree, we need to look into it, and see what's our options, see what the market's gonna want and gonna need in order to make it move. Patrick's gonna have to guide us on that.
Okay, so I think we're going to call, nobody wants to commit to doing anything, but what are your thoughts on this? Are we barking up the wrong tree here, or is this something that, I don't want to give you guys work just to have you have something else to do.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll start. You can finish. How about that?
Go ahead.
Well, let me just address a couple of things. The building itself is not going to be serviceable.
Okay.
It would literally cost more to rehab it than to knock it down and build new. It's that
bad.
It's that bad. So that idea is kind of challenging right there. As far as the craft brew, I love that idea. I have spoken to a couple of brewers specifically. In fact, I think you and I may have even have discussed this at one point previously. It's not necessarily the parcel, it's the market that's going to drive it. The parcel, a developer is not worried about the old building. They'll knock it down and build what they want. It's the market. What's the market going to support? And we have had lengthy conversations with both restaurants and craft brew houses about that particular property. Once they do their own individual due diligence into the market, they pull back on it a little bit. And just like other development in the area is driving the real estate, I think other development in the area is also going to change the market. I don't think it's going to happen immediately for obvious reasons, but I do think some of the merchants that are going to be moving into the project to the north, I think are going to start to draw a little bit, they're going to draw more consumers, people willing to spend more money, and I hate to say it, but a lot of the market research folks simply watch our consumer patterns based on our cell phone habits. That's how a lot of this data comes about. So they're able to see where people are driving from, driving to, where they're shopping and where they're not shopping. And right now, there's not a lot that supports that in that area. That doesn't mean it won't change when the area starts to take off. That's why I'm kind of excited with what's going on down there right now. It's just that as we sit this moment, we don't have the stats in our pocket to pull and put on the table to grab that interest. We may have it in the upcoming future, depending on how things change and how the community responds to the businesses that are going into the projects further to the north. But right now, I'm open for any ideas as far as whether we're talking incentives to buyers and developers or whether we're talking special pricing for particular projects. If you seek a very specific project, then obviously I can meet with Mr. Berman and we can address it from that perspective.
Well, I think we would love to see craft beer, and we need some upscale dining. Those are two ideas. There may be more. Well, I mean, I'm not,
How about craft beer?
you know, we haven't really had the, I mean, I don't want to speak for the council and just narrow it down to two things. That's not right. But we have movement down there. We have things happening, right? Those apartments are going to open. They're going to bring 200 medium to higher income family, not all of them be families, but people there, right? Consumers, that's a good, yes. The other lot in parcel A is going to sell next to Paragon. That's not going to sit there for, that's going to be very attractive. It's right on 56th Street. I just don't want us, we've stayed this course for 20 years or more now. There's movement happening, we're not just looking at a vacant field and nothing going on anymore. I just don't want us to build another whatever that we have 12 of in the city already, and we don't really need more of that. And so if you guys could, maybe the thing is just wait a year, I don't know. But if you guys could at least talk to Patrick and put your heads, I mean, you guys are all smart and you know this business probably better than we do. So I think you know where the council wants to go with this. And I just don't want to, we don't have much property left. And I don't want to lose.
Well, we need to get, as it gets less property, we need to be more specific. I think
Yes,
we need
that's
to be
why
picky.
I'm bringing this
We
up.
need to be picky. I'm okay being picky.
That's why I'm bringing this up, because once it's built, whatever's there is there for 30 years. I mean, that's what we have for the rest of our life. And so, we're running out of space. I think we've done a good job of bringing good things in. I just don't want to lose the opportunity for,
I can certainly follow up with Patrick and share this conversation with him because this is very targeted.
Okay, well, I don't want to beat the horse to death.
Dining or brew
Are
pub.
we happy with where we are with this conversation, or do we need, are we, okay. Okay,
Let me interject something.
Sure.
Mr. Chair. We've never had that conversation with Patrick, nor has it ever come into the equation of any kind of incentives whatsoever. We have always relied that once we get some activity down there, that, you know, that we've had people inquire about the property. Specific uses, generic uses that we've been talking about, that seems to be the flavor of the month as far as the strip retail, so on and so forth. Let us have some conversation, and let us come up with some ideas on what the market is now carrying as far as incentives, and so let's see if we can bring you back something that you can kind of move forward with and kind of give us some direction of, yeah, we could probably go with that. So,
Okay.
but I don't think we're at a point of fire sale in the property.
no,
I,
no, no,
I think that we've got a tremendous potential moving forward here, and I think we're doing very good. So,
good. Councilman,
but we hear what you're saying. We understand.
other questions for Mr. Polly, Mr. Schisler?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
One, refresh my memory, where's Building 5 going to go?
It's up along Bullard Parkway.
Oh, it's, okay, it's all
It's
on the
right
north side.
across from, if you can envision what you see down there right now, you have the Fountain Tower on the corner.
Right.
And immediately south of the Fountain Tower, you have Building A. Well, right on the other side of the Fountain Tower, you have, over to the east, you have Building E, which is the fifth building.
Okay, and then the last question, parcel C, what's the relative value of that right now? What do we, what kind of asking for, or offers that we had?
Now, when you say parcel C, are you referring to the
Water-
piece?
Down by the river.
The appraisal that we have was based on available units, which prices it at 2.9 million. Now, that is a high price tag based on that, but that's also an appraisal that's based on either beds for retirement or apartments or condos or mid to high rise type structure. That's why it's kind of a bit awkward when you start talking to pricing on that particular parcel, because the type of projects that I think we would all like to see come into that area is certainly not based on a unit, a bed count or a residential unit. It's more based on whether or not we can entertain a nice commercial project in that area as opposed to a residential project. Just to give you a little feedback on the commercial side of it, I've had many conversations with folks on that, and once they realize that it's not on 56th Street, you lose interest quickly on the commercial side of it. They just don't have the traffic volume that they're looking for. That part of 56th Street carries about 45,000 vehicles on an average annual daily count, and that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for, something in the single digits on River Hills.
It's not that far off 56, though.
It's not, but even if it's just around the corner,
And it is around the corner.
it is around the corner, and you don't have the traffic count.
No, it's not.
And it's right in the residential.
It's a transition parcel between what is currently a couple of commercial properties, and then it transitions, you have the park, and then you have the transition, and then you have residential. So it's a complete transition parcel. So to try to promote it as a commercial project property, I haven't had a lot of success in that department for the reason I just mentioned. They simply don't have the traffic volume that some of these bigger commercial developers are seeking.
I don't know why I had in my mind that the offer value was somewhere less than $1 million.
You may have been thinking about the other parcel, the old restaurant parcel. That one is,
I guess
that's,
we never really had much play on parcel C ever, that I'm aware of. I think we had two options. One was a Section 8 apartment way back in the beginning.
yeah.
A
We've-
senior living.
Yes.
Well, we've had senior living, we've had two, if you recall, I want to say it was maybe December, the end of last year, I brought the idea of looking at it again, because we had two developers that were interested in workforce housing. And we had the discussion, and they were both ready to step up, but we didn't want that for the community at the time, so I had to take a pass on those. And just last night, I received another similar offer of the same thing. I get those calls all the time, but everybody wants to build apartments. That's,
Developers like that are offering about $500,000 for the apartment.
yeah, they want to build a product that,
That's what I've been thinking. That's what I remembered. It was less than $1 million.
Same thing, at one of our work sessions or something, I heard the $1 million price and $1 million to bring in fill dirt and stuff. I think,
You know, I think the issue, well, in my mind, the issue is, you know, what's the opportunity cost of this going to be if we just convert it into some type of a green space project to aid the city? I mean, if we're banking on $2.9 million and paying off the debt, and the value of it's really less than $1 million, then that makes the calculation a lot more palatable. We're not going to get 2.9 to do that, and the rest of the debt, or the debt service is already established. We know we know how big the nut is. We know how we're going to crack it going forward over the next 20 or 30 years, however long it is. Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's my question.
Mr. Chambers, do you have something else?
no, I just want to comment on that.
Councilmember, other questions?
I just have one. What is the value of bringing in an educational institution, an HCC or University of South Florida property or of some kind, research building, something like that, that would connect us to USF? Does that do us any good to have that there, other than to be an attractor for the brew pub we're gonna put up?
I don't know that we've ever considered that type of use on that. Which property are you talking about? Which parcel are you talking about?
I'm gonna now call it the brew pub property because that's what we're,
What?
yeah. The little property with the curry restaurant on it,
the old restaurant property.
yeah. I mean, it's not very big, so it would be a satellite, just an educational use, but I don't think that would help us any because they wouldn't pay us any taxes.
Difficult to
Correct.
compete with R&D
Right,
with Uptown right now.
oh.
You wouldn't have a tax base associated with it, although it'd be an attractor.
The big issue is there'd be no tax base, so it's off the
We
table.
do a USF and a craft beer next to it. That may be
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was saying, yeah. Well, I will say, anytime I've approached someone for, to come out here, restaurant or brewery or anything, I haven't had anything to offer them. So, once we come up, once you can tell us, not that we're gonna be the negotiators, but, they say, well, what are you asking? Well, I can tell them the asking price, but then that's it. They're like, well, you have anything else? I'm like, I'm not the one to talk to, but I'll put you in touch with the people who are. And that should still be the same way, but it does help the conversation continue a little bit longer if I could say, we have some things we're thinking about, let me, let's, don't say no. Just,
I will tell you with the developers that even talk like that triggers the idea that Temple Terrace is open, that we're willing to talk and negotiate.
but we want to trigger that
Right,
conversation.
right, but I'm not sure that we've historically always been good at
No.
sending the signal that we're open for business.
Well, we have done them in the past when they were brought to us by Hillsborough County. We approved those,
Right.
those.
But what I'm
waivers.
suggesting is maybe there's a way for us to be a little more proactive and put the signal out there that we want what we want and we're willing to put some skin in the game to get what we want.
We got the message.
Yep, I know you did.
Upscale restaurants can be tough.
I know.
Yeah, we're getting
Just
crap
to let you know, demographics down at the, at that
I get
area of town are just tough to
Have a
attract
table there.
an upscale restaurant, so.
I understand.
And we've had that conversation already, but
Yep.
Possibly with some incentives built in that we can sell. Now that I'm hearing that, we've never offered that up. We've never had that conversation before.
Well, we're a long way from,
Well, we're along, yeah, we've got some activity, and again, I think, we've got some good stuff happening, and I think that as time goes by here, we're still looking to sell another piece of property, satisfy at least one of the notes during this fiscal year. So that's our target, to get that done. And I think we'll get that done.
Thank you for letting us know who the potential tenants are. That's a big help, because people ask, It's good to know.
Sure. And on that property, that restaurant property, one of the interested parties that has expressed interest, and as I think I used the word light interest when I started, doesn't necessarily know what he wants to build. Well, now I've received a little direction, and maybe I can find out if that's a project that he may be interested in.
Okay,
I have one more question.
okay, one more.
Property at the corner of Ridgedale and Bullard.
Mhm.
Now, that's in the CRA.
It's right on the boundary.
Is there any, do you know, has there been, I see the signs keep changing, you know, lease options, now, then for sale, and now there's one that says, you know, a suggestion of what could go there. Are you involved in any of that property?
I'm going to let Mr. Stevenson address that because I know he's probably more familiar with that particular parcel than I am.
There is conversations going around between the planners and developers. The planner that we've worked with before, the property is under contract. We know that. They're in their due diligence period right now. They have contacted our planning department in order to start working on a site plan. You're talking about another bank and another retail place, another retail establishment.
All right, well, glad I
But
asked.
they've had very preliminary meetings, but it is under consideration for development. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know why bank, but we have, I guess banks are good.
Just
Banks-
made my point.
They have money.
Well, people don't build it if they don't think they can make money. so-
We don't own that property, so, you know.
No, we do not. No, that's privately owned.
That Thomasino?
Okay, council members, one last call, anything?
I'm good.
Mr. Polly,
I've got.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I've got one request of the board. We have alluded to, the CRA now has to do their own independent audit from our audit. I think everybody's aware of that. We need to transmit this approval of our audit for the CRA by June 30th. We normally schedule 4 meetings during the course of the year. I need to see if we can get together on June 15th or before our June 15th council meeting, basically for a very short meeting to adopt the CRA audit so that I can transmit that to the state. Will only take about 15, 20 minutes at the very most.
June 15th.
No.
We meet at 5:30 on
We can do
June
it at
15th.
5:30 would be awesome.
Is the audit's done, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
The audit's completed, isn't it?
The audit is done. We just need to get the board to approve it, and I've got to get a resolution from council to transmit it.
Was that done as part
a-
of the?
It was done,
Let's see.
yes, it was. It was done in conjunction with it.
We've already approved it then, haven't we?
You hadn't approved the CRA portion. The CRA portion's got to be approved by this board.
Okay, oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay.
So you
I'm
understand
not
that
here.
to us?
Can we do it on June 1st? It's done?
If we can get it done, the auditors have got to put their presentation together and their report. If you prefer me work on the June 1st.
June 1st would be better for me. I have a conflict on June 15th already with the council meeting that I'm trying to straighten out.
And I'm out for that meeting.
And you're out, so potentially got a possibility the two of us are out, which is, probably can't happen. June 1st,
Here,
Fine.
June 1st,
I'm good.
okay.
If you can get it done.
If we can get it done.
Jeff can do it.
June 1st, we'll get it done.
Or, and I hate to say that, but I mean, it's a 15-minute meeting. We could have a special meeting if necessary, the week of the 9th, 10th, or 11th. I hate to do that, but we all live close.
Let's shoot for the 1st. We'll report back to you if we can get it done.
Okay,
And we were trying to get it done for this meeting, but that just didn't happen. It was
Right.
Too quick.
right,
But
okay.
we'll shoot for the 1st, and we'll get everybody busy.
If not, we'll figure it out. Okay. That it?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Good? Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned.